Okay, I'm going very slowly in very slow traffic so I can make a little video. This is David, the tinnitus coach, and I do this for free. Just trying to help people because I went through a difficult time myself, and I feel like I want to help people understand that the sense of hopelessness and feeling like this sound's always going to be there and your life is just going to be shit the rest of the time is just absolutely not true, but it seems like it will be. So I want to always make people aware of that, and then we can make progress from there. Part of what happens is our mind gets really programmed into thinking about the tinnitus, and then we can't stop thinking about it. So there's been a lot of studies of neuroplasticity and how our brain can be reprogrammed, and it can solve so many problems, not just the tinnitus. Now, to reprogram our brain, we have to start engaging in different activities that involve our brain kind of rebuilding the structure that helps us to think in a different way. So right now, for some people, they have tinnitus, and they quickly, after they started getting the sound, started thinking about it every day, all day for a long time. And then that quickly programmed their brain to have this anxiety, this hopelessness, this attention to the sound. And let me tell you, it's possible not to pay attention to the sound, but it sure seems like it wouldn't be, So I have it all the time, and I don't know about the loudness. I think probably some people are louder than me, but it's not exactly soft either. And I don't think about it, and it's amazing. So in the beginning steps of trying to not think about it so much is you have to start building some new programming in. And that can be just engaging in some activities where you have to use your brain on something else instead of thinking about the sound. And that can be things like reading a book. And as you read the book, you might find yourself getting frustrated because you keep thinking about the sound rather than the book. You could do things like read aloud to yourself and do every word, this word in this next part of the sentence, and you really do your best to get where you're focusing more and more on reading the book. And you start to get this skill of reading the book and understanding what you're reading better and better. Like when I had tinnitus, I was trying to read Harry Potter. I read 3 of them actually, and I had to read. At the beginning, I just felt so frustrated. I couldn't even, remember what I read. But I'm like, I'm going to keep going. And sometimes I would go back and read the page again, and I would sometimes read aloud to myself. But I was going through every word and trying my best to focus on reading that word. And what happens is what happened is I started to be able to read. And I would not think about the tinnitus for maybe 1 minute. And of course, I use the background noise and things like that. So this is just one example of a way you get your brain moving onto something, thinking about something, and building that ability to read again. It could be a lot of other things. I also did drawing, and I would get a YouTube video, not always, or I would find something that I liked, and I would sort of copy it, but draw my own version of it, because I can't draw as good as the artist. And I would just draw. I'm not an artist. I would never consider, I never took any classes, but when I was at my worst, I just started drawing every day. It was an activity that I thought would help calm me down in hopes that I could go to sleep. So I was copying something. I was taking instruction from the YouTube video, and I was trying to output something from my brain onto paper. And that's another good activity to get where you're not thinking about the tinnitus, but rather thinking about what you're doing, the drawing. I bought some nice colored pencils. There's some pretty cool sets out there you can get on Amazon. It might be like 64 or even more than 100 different colors, and I had fun drawing, And I have a little sort of like a notebook of probably a few hundred drawings that I did during the course of a year or so. And it'll always be special to me because that was a really tough time for me. But I have all these sort of beautiful things that I drew during that terrible time, and it gives me a good feeling about it, not just a bad feeling. So it could be anything, like it could be exercise, it could be dancing, trying to remember some dancing steps. You could watch a video and do the dancing steps. It's good to move around. It could be learning a language. I've been studying Chinese for 13 years, I guess. And I don't know if you can imagine Chinese characters, but they have like a stroke order where you draw the character. A million points if you know what I just drew. And you draw the character, and you can use your finger or a pen, but sometimes I would do that exercise of just imagining myself drawing the character. That's with my left hand, that's harder. And then I would get involved. My brain, maybe it's a sentence, and I have to draw all the characters of the sentence, and my mind would get involved in drawing those characters. And then that's another thing where I'm actually programming myself to be better at drawing Chinese characters, and deprogramming myself to think about the sound of the tinnitus. And I would often do that. I wouldn't necessarily always use my finger, but I would sort of do it in my brain as I'm trying to go to sleep. And sometimes that would help me fall asleep, just thinking of drawing characters. That was kind of cool. So I hope I gave you sort of an overview of how you can use neuroplasticity to your advantage. Oh, let me just describe, as you do these things, imagine like a pianist, maybe one of the world's best. You see them on YouTube or something, and they just amazing how they just move up and down the keyboard. And it's almost like second nature. It's natural. How do they do that? Well, they built a nerve network from their brain down to their hands and maybe some other parts of their body, to be able to do that. So it's actually you can do this yourself. You can build a new neural network that allows you to do a skill that you didn't have before. And this is a wonderful thing to be doing when you're trying to get past the tinnitus, is start building a skill. But you can maybe decide every day I'm going to draw for an hour. Every day I'm going to get some sentences in a language I want to learn, and I'm going to go over the sentences one by one, the in that language and how to pronounce it, plus the translation and what it means. And I'll try to identify the words of the sentence and understand what they mean. And maybe you can ask ChatGPT to do that, and you can start learning a language every day. And just imagine if you just decide, say, to pick up, Spanish, and you do this every day for at least 15 minutes, but maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and every day your brain is going to start building a skill, and you're going to be able to speak Spanish better and better. And Spanish is actually an easier language to learn if you speak English. So like if you speak English maybe as little as 500 to 600 hours, you could be speaking pretty good Spanish. So how long does that take if you do a year, 365 hours, a year and a half, 2 years, and you'll be speaking pretty good Spanish. And then probably you'll have some friends who speak Spanish, and then you'll talk to them, and you'll be so past your tinnitus because you're so busy talking to your friends in Spanish. It's just an example, but it's a possibility, of something you could do. So these are some ideas for you to help get your mind, even beyond tinnitus, learning a new skill and not thinking about tinnitus so much. Okay, well, have a wonderful day or night or wherever you are, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Maybe tell people about it if you can. Maybe you're involved in some other places. Mention this channel, the Tinnitus Coach. We also have tinnitusforums.com. I haven't been using it too much, but it's still there, and maybe it'll grow. Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.